So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, and welcome to part 2 of day 2 of our association journey presentations. I'm Alushca Ritchie, President of the World Federation of Tourist Guide Associations. And once again, it's with great pleasure that I would like to introduce today's facilitator, Banafsheh. Banafsheh is one of our WFTGA trainers and also a very active member of our training committee, which manages our training division under our training head, which is Viola Lewis, also with us today. So good morning, Viola, and good morning, Banafsheh. So Banafsheh, I'd like to hand over to you to facilitate today's presentations, and all the best to the presenters for today. And we look forward to hearing your stories. Banafsheh, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alushca. I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our friends and colleagues in the globe. And definitely we are going to have 2.5 hours with a very interesting presentation from our colleague. I want to say hi to Alushca, Viola, and Sebastian, who is behind the curtain and help us as actually technician. We are going to have 10 presentation today, and later on I'm going to tell you who is going to present today. Each of the presentation is going to be 12 minutes for our presenter. After 3 presentations, we have Q&A. But for the viewers, if you have any question, you can just type it in chat box, and if you have time, we will refer to that. Viola is going to keep the time, and after 11 minutes, she's going to let you know you have only 1 minute left to wrap up and conclude. So let's start with the list of our dear presenter today. As the first presentation, we have Nerice, the Association Cameroon Tourist Guide. And after her, we are going to have Eva from the Federation of Hungarian Tourist Guide. And then we are going to have Jackie, the guide of Professional Tourist Guide of Washington, D.C. Then from Azerbaijan Tourist Guide Association, we are going to have Mr.Tural. And then Alice is going to present from the Tallinn Guide Association, Estonia. And then from Malaysian Women Tourist Guide Association, we are going to have Siew Meng. And then Krisztina from Hungarian Tourist Guide, Hungarian Tourist Guide Association is going to have her presentation. And Mark from British Guide of Tourist Guide London. And then we are going to have Maryam from Iran, Isfahan Tourist Guide Association, and Alejandra from Tourist Guide Association from France. We are ready to listen to your stories and all you did during the year and learn from you guys. So we will start with Nerice. Nerice, please.
Thank you, Banafsheh, and good morning, everyone. I welcome all of you to Cameroon. Probably you don't know where Cameroon is, but we are in Central Africa. And it's fondly said that Cameroon is Africa in miniature. So you would find a bit of everything that you have in Africa in Cameroon. So I welcome you to Cameroon and to AGTC. It's in French. Okay, I'm right here. So Association de Guides de Tourisme Camerounais is in French, but it means the Association of Cameroonian Tourist Guides. And I'm Miss Nerice Kihkwi. I'm a vice president in charge of communication. We are 3 vice presidents. So I'll be taking you through 2020 as far as AGTC is concerned. So who are we? We're a non-profit association that seeks to promote professional excellence of tourist guides in Cameroon. We equip and empower guides in the 10 regions of Cameroon. And AGTC was created in 2004 and joined the WFTGA in 2011. So I'm calling in from Yaoundé, Cameroon, the political headquarters, and that's where we are as well.
Nerice?
So, yes.
We don't have your presentation.
Oh yes,
Oh, you don't?
the presentation.
Okay, continue.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes. So I was saying that our headquarters is in Yaoundé, Cameroon, the political capital. And our president is Mbevo Daniel. We have 3 vice presidents and 1. And we have 42 registered members in AGTC. But we are serving over 130 guides through our online platforms. And we have partnerships with the Ministry of Tourism and Leisure in Cameroon. We have partnership with the Ministry of Forests and Fauna and the Ministry of External Relations. And we also partner with the Yaoundé Urban Council. So you would see here, just to prove to you that we work hand in glove with the Ministry of Tourism and Leisure. We had a press conference in January 2020, discussing the International Travel Guides, Tourist Guides Day, which is one of our flagship events in Cameroon. So January 2020, we're all strong and very hopeful. We attended our trade fairs. We had preparatory meetings with the Urban Council, and we were preparing for the African Nations Championship. If you know Cameroon, the first thing that comes to mind is football. So we're going to gather African nations in Cameroon. So we're so happy in January. We're so full of vigor. And we were present at SAGO. SAGO is the exhibition on government action in Cameroon. So we're at that trade fair. We also attended the New Year Wishes to the Minister of Tourism, which is an annual event that creates room for participants to table some pertinent issues. And we were also in full swing preparation for the Tourist Guides Day. And in February 2020, we organized several activities for our flagship event, the International Tourist Guides Day. So we started off with a seminar at the Maritime Museum in Douala. Douala is the economic capital. It's in the coastal region. So we had this partnership with Tourisme Sans Frontières. So with some experts, we're discussing on how to effectively market the Cameroonian destination. So in Douala, we officially launched our activities, and we had a press conference. And then on the 21st of February, we had our celebration, Tourist Guides Day. We actually moved to one of the remote villages in Cameroon, where we have the longest river in Cameroon, River Sanaga, and we had our event. And in February also, we celebrate our Youth Day. So it was a time of creating awareness for our profession and the potentials of tourism in our beautiful country. So March, April, the pandemic hit so hard. I mean, there was confusion. The first case in Cameroon was identified on the 15th of March, and the airports shut down on the 17th. We had like everywhere else, uncertainty, inactivity. So to keep our members, I mean, strong, tourism strong, like Alushca puts it, we reached out to them with hope, with mental health care. And we also were training them to use platforms like Zoom, for example, to leverage on technology. We also had our AGM, annual general meeting. And in May, between May and June, we actually appointed Madame Kameni Françoise Lele as our honorary president. I think most of us are familiar with this name because we want to seize this opportunity to thank WFTGA for the assistance that was offered her at the airport when she got stranded. We also acquired a new spacious office for our activities, and we could go do a few on-site meetings because the pandemic was already kind of easing off, of course, respecting all the measures. And there was need for us to cast the vision anew. So in July to August, we tried to get the guides a bit busy, even if it was free of charge, but we wanted to ease the stress off, and we organized several educational tours for guides and the public as well, because we saw the need to promote domestic tourism, which has been very poor in our country. So we organized activities like hiking, ecotourism, bird watching, and the population was great. Everyone needed to come out of the confinement. So here comes September 2020, and we celebrated the World Tourism Day. We had training and capacity building for over 80 tourist guides and hostesses and other professions that are related to the tourism industry. So we had a 2-day tourism fair with over 21 local entrepreneurs who showcased products and services that are purely made in Cameroon. During this week, it was a week-long activity. We organized city tours, guided city tours for all visitors, those who came to the fair, and exhibitors as well. So, and these activities were powered by the Ministry of Tourism and the Yaoundé Urban Council. So here is a photo of the training, the capacity building that we offered at the Yaoundé Urban Council. And it was a big catch for us because we signed the convention. There was a convention for the creation of the Tourist Information Center. We've never had it in Yaoundé. So during this period in September, we were able to sign that convention. And the Yaoundé Urban Council gave us the full authorization to manage this bureau, this tourism bureau. So in October 2020, we launched the information center fully, and we have been able to attract hundreds of Yaoundé city dwellers who are being informed of the great tourism potentials around them and in the country. Yeah, I just want to note here again that Cameroonian tourism depends so much on foreign arrivals. So it was time for us to encourage domestic tourism. So we are in November, and I want to say that we've started our preparatory meetings for the International Tourist Guides Day of 2021. And we've included more regions. Last year, early this year, we only had about 5 regions, but we are extending to 8 regions. So our terms of reference has been issued, and we have set up an organizing committee, and we have the patronage of our minister signed. So we have full backup. We are ready for 2021. which we hope is going to be a better year for us. So today, actually right now, we are present at another fair, tourism fair, that brings together over 240 local councils. So we want to empower the mayors, the local authority to intentionally develop the potentials in their localities. So we had a lot of challenges, like everyone. Like I said, we depend so much on foreign tourists. And since we've not had that, I mean, we have financial crisis. Most of our members who are predominantly self-employed and freelancers are bankrupt. Many of our members are even discouraged, and they are engaged in other petty trading to make ends meet. We don't have, as an association, enough financial resources to run the activities because we usually depend on membership fees. And this year, we didn't receive as much. And it's through the government.
1 minute, please.
Thank you. The government actually announced that they had aid for us, and we are still waiting. So, thank you, merci, gracias, obrigada, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nerice. Very good timing. Yeah, you refer to the education and domestic tourism, which was really important during this situation that we were facing, and still it's on. Thank you very much. Nice presentation. Let me actually invite Eva, Federation Hungarian Tourist Guide, to start her presentation. Eva.
Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Then I will put, so you can see now my presentation as well.
Still not.
You cannot see my presentation?
No.
I don't know, because I can see it on my screen and I did not disappear.
Share.
It.
Share it. Yeah.
Just a minute. Oh my God.
Don't you worry. Take your time.
Yeah, now I can't see you. And
yeah, because you are sharing your screen.
No.
So you just need to share it.
Can you click in the Zoom video on the green button?
Yes, but now the screen of you have disappeared because I put it on here downstairs. Oh, Zoom. Yes, now return to meeting. Okay. Oh my God. And share screen. Yes. Share screen. Which one? Okay. Can you see my presentation now?
Not yet.
Oh, because it is on now. You can't see it.
You have to click in the Zoom video. Can you change back to the app Zoom?
Just a minute. App Zoom, because here I have share screen. So
yes, can you click on that?
Yes, I was clicking on that. Yes. I'm clicking. And
Excuse me, may I help her a little bit
screen.
in Hungarian?
Sure.
Éva, légy szíves, ha miután elkapcsolsz a share-re, utána nyisd meg azt az oldalt, amit akarsz bemutatni.
A prezentációt.
Igen, arra klikkelj rá.
Igen, most ráklikkeltem.
És megnyitotta neked?
Igen.
The problem is that she's clicking on it, but it's still not opening in the share.
Oh, and
Okay.
we tried it at the beginning, and it was working. And this is why I don't understand what is.
Okay, Eva.
Could I suggest that Banafsheh, you move on to the next speaker, and
Yes.
Eva, can you email your presentation to me in the meantime, and we will get it to work from our side.
Yeah, I had the same actually suggestion. Okay.
Fantastic, Banafsheh.
So Eva, while you are sending your presentation, I want to invite Jackie from the Guide of Professional Tour Guide of Washington, D.C., USA. Jackie, please.
Thank you very much, Banafsheh, and thank you, WFTGA, for the opportunity to present today. My name is Jackie Frend, and I'm the president of the Guild of Professional Tour Guides of Washington, D.C. I'm delighted to be here today to share our 2020 journey with you. I'd like to give you a background into our organization. We are a nonprofit. We were chartered in 1985, around the same time that WFTGA was forming. And this year we are celebrating our 35th anniversary. We do have 561 members. We are the largest U.S. tour guide association here in the United States. We have 444 tour guides who are members. And of those, 55 speak another language, and 65 of them do not live in Washington, D.C. They live in cities around the country. We also have 50 tour operators, and they are headquartered in cities around the country as well. Another category of our membership is friends, and those are organizations and companies that provide goods and services to us when we're on tour. For instance, restaurants, museums, theaters, houses of worship. Those would be considered our friends. We're run by a board of directors. We have 7 elected officers and 8 committees. And together there are 21 of us. Now you may wonder what it takes to be a DC tour guide. Officially, it doesn't take a whole lot. Washington, DC has one requirement, and that is that you pay them $150 every 2 years, and they will give you a license. And so there's no need to take a test, and there are about 1,400 licensed Washington, DC guides. To be a guild member, however, we do have requirements. We require you to have that DC license, of course. We also require you to pass a knowledge test. There's 100 questions that we expect you to be able to answer about DC, about our federal government, the founding of our country. It's a very comprehensive test. We require 3 letters of recommendation, and those recommendations would attest to your skills and abilities as a tour guide. And then, of course, we do have member dues. We do require our members to pay. Currently, it's $90 per year. In terms of the 2019 tourism data, we saw about 25 million visitors last year. They spent over $8 billion. They generated $897 million in local tax revenue. And there was over 78,000 local jobs that were supported by tourism. I'd like to call your attention to the picture here that's on this slide. These are our cherry blossoms, and they bloom once a year, and we have a National Cherry Blossom Festival. It celebrates spring and the blooming of almost 4,000 cherry trees along our national mall. The festival draws 1.5 million people every year from around the world, and it's a 3-week festival. In 2020, the festival was scheduled to begin on March 20th and conclude on April 12th. And many of our guides were booked that entire time. It's a very busy time for everybody. Now, our journey actually began on March the 12th, and that is the beginning of our peak tour season. Our season is March through June. So in addition to the Cherry Blossom Festival, this is a time when thousands and thousands of school kids from around the country come to Washington, D.C. to learn more about the history of our country. And our guides are always very, very busy during that time. But on March 12th, everything changed when Congress announced that the US Capitol would close to the public and to tours at 5 p.m. that day. And literally within a day or two, all the other tourist sites closed. The National Cherry Blossom Festival was canceled and our tours canceled. So our busiest tour season vanished in the blink of an eye, and most guides had no work and no income either. So the Guild took immediate action, and we tried to turn our challenges into success along the way. The first thing that we had to do was do something about our board meetings. We normally only meet 9 times a year, and we realized 9 times was not going to make it this year. And so we purchased GoToMeeting, which is the equivalent of Zoom, and that allowed our board to meet virtually. So we met this year 16 times, and our goal was to make sure that we were serving the needs of our membership. Now, being self-employed or independent contractors, our tour guides do not qualify under the law for traditional unemployment benefits, but Congress was considering new legislation to address unemployment during the pandemic. And knowing that, we created a COVID task force. And the task force was to keep our members up to date, of course, on COVID, but also the impact to the industry. So the task force helped us lobby Congress and to remind Congress that we existed and that we did not want to be left out of this new legislation, to make sure that they addressed the unemployment compensation for our self-employed workers. And in the end, Congress did pass that legislation, and we have been included in it, and our guides are receiving unemployment benefits. Now, we did have a problem with our budget, as I know other tour guide associations had had as well. Our major source of income is from our yearly membership dues, and we delayed our renewal season until next year so that we could draw on our reserves to meet our normal, we delayed our renewal season this year, and so we had to draw on our reserves in order to meet our normal operating for 2020. So we were very fortunate that we had those reserves to draw on. In response to the Black Lives Matter movement, we created a brand new committee on our board, a Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and that is to educate our guides about very important social issues today. As a result of purchasing the GoToMeeting platform, we were able to create virtual tours. And prior to this year, we always had in-person education and training programs, and we always charged a fee. It was a nominal fee. It was only $10 per event, but still it gave us some income. And so to keep our guides engaged this year, we realized we could not charge them because they didn't have any money. But we needed them to remain in the Guild, and we wanted the Guild to be an important part of their lives. So we started offering free education and training programs. And we had many of our talented guides offer to give these tours. And we also had experts in the tourism industry giving us these virtual tours. And since March, we've had over 140 events, and we've had 7,000 registrations. So they have been a great success. And we've recorded all of them. So our members who cannot watch them live, they are able to go in later and watch them. So they're not missing any of our events at all. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is our 35th anniversary. And so we embarked on an oral history project over the summer. We interviewed and recorded the history of the Guild through the eyes of our founding members and our past Guild presidents. And we posted those videos on our website for posterity. In terms of the tourism industry and the outlook for the Washington, D.C. area, it does not look good right now. I'm sure you all know that we are experiencing a horrible, the pandemic is horrible here in the United States. And the D.C. is now experiencing another surge in the COVID cases, just as the rest of the United States is, as well as the world. And our restrictions are changing literally daily. What was true yesterday for our restrictions is not true today. And we're now going back to restrictions that were imposed several months ago. We have a few Smithsonian museums that did open over the summer, but because the pandemic's coming back again, closed once again on Monday. And they say they don't know when they will open again, maybe in January. We are hearing that it could take a few years to recover, that it will be a gradual recovery. We just learned yesterday that our Cherry Blossom Festival will be virtual in 2021. Our hopes are centered around an effective vaccine that would hold promise for large-scale conferences and sporting events and concerts. We're hoping that they would return to the Washington area. And once they return, we know that our group tours will return as well. We have surveyed our guides and our tour operators several times since March. And the most recent survey we did about 2 or 3 weeks ago, asking about what their tours look like in 2021. And I'm sad to say that we don't have very many tours at all going in 2021. And another problem that we had is that our tour operators have laid off or furloughed their staff. And it's difficult for us to be in contact with tour operators, better members. What we're currently seeing in Washington, D.C. are local visitors, people who live within 50 miles, families who come for the day just because they want to get out of the house. And they do not use the guides at all. They just stay to themselves and tour on their units. We do have health and safety protocols published on our website, and we encourage our guides to follow the Centers for Disease Control guidelines as well. We have a major holiday coming up tomorrow. It is Thanksgiving, and friends and families always get together during this holiday, but we have been warned by local authorities not to travel and to only gather within our own family household bubble. And unfortunately, according to news reports, millions of people are already traveling now, and that's just going to spread the virus even farther. I do have good news to report in 2020. The good news, first thing, is none of our guild members have died, and I hope and pray that none do as a result of COVID. Because of our virtual ability to do these events, we have much better communications with our members, particularly our out-of-town guides, who say that they feel more connected to the guild now more than ever. And through our virtual meetings and the events, our guides have learned how to create their own virtual tours. And this has been very exciting for them. And the fact that we've recorded these events, our members really appreciate that. We've actually had 16 new guides join the guild this year, which was surprising. We have the presidential inauguration that's coming up on January 20th. Hotels are starting to book rooms, and our tour guides are starting to get a couple tours. We had new memorials open this year. 2 new memorials opened, 1 museum, a mural, and 6 hotels opened. So in 2021, once things return to normal, hopefully, we'll be able to showcase those new sites that open. And I cannot overlook our
1 minute.
I cannot overlook our treasured new arrival. A baby panda was born at the Smithsonian Zoo on August 12th. His mother is 22 years old. She is the second oldest documented panda to give birth. Hence the name of the little panda there pictured. His name in the equivalent of Mandarin is Little Miracle. I spent many hours glued to the zoo's panda cam, along with 1.5 million other people just watching mama and baby. And it always makes me smile and brings me great peace to watch them together. Many thanks to WFTGA for hosting this, and we look forward to seeing you in Novi Sad, Serbia in 2022. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jackie. It was a very nice presentation. And thank you that you end your presentation with good news. And with the picture that you show about the Cherry Blossom Festival. So I'm hoping that everything settled. We get rid of this COVID-19 and can see that nice picture in real. Okay, so since I think still we wait for Eva, so I want to invite the next presenter from Azerbaijan Tourist Guide Association, Tural, please.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. So great. Let me just make it full screen. So I'm very glad to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much to all the friends and members who are sharing the presentation before. It's my first time, and I'm very honored to be in this event. My name is Tural Musayev. I am the Secretary General of Azerbaijan Guiding Association, and you need to understand that. Let me give you a background before I go to the 2020, a very hard year. We had in Azerbaijan strong tourism development last years, and unfortunately we did not have any associations which were covering the tourist guides. We had a lot of the associations which were covering tourism field, different industries, but not the tourist guides specifically. That's why even late, but we managed to establish and to create a non-governmental organization of our association in 2019. And one of the first major priorities was to give a strong voice and represent tourist guides, to bring them close, to work with the government, support them with events and trainings and so on. We have 9 executive board members. And overall, we have, for the moment, for 2020, 372 members, which are separated into 129 full members. With full members, I mean, for this year, as we have announced the membership in the year 2020, we are not taking any fees. It's just for the test period for 1 year or maybe even 2 years, depending on the COVID-19, that we expanded it. So the guides will share their ideas, give us feedback, and enjoy our work. The full members are those who are actually licensed guides. We had the Ministry of Tourism before, which gave the license for the tourist guides until 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And afterward, this ministry was divided in 2 different ministries, and was established a state tourism agency and Azerbaijan Tourism Board. So non-governmental organization were giving the license. So it was actually not a must, but it was a free for all guides to participate. And this created big problems with especially providing the guiding fee, and the quality was very low drastically. So we have also, for those guides who did not receive any license or were not participating in the licensing, 243 regular members of them. It was our first meeting in 2019 with all the members of the Tourist Guide Association, and not including the associate members, which are our partners, such as governmental organizations or non-governmental organizations which are helping us. It's also a hotel association. It's also especially agencies, tourism agencies association, which are helping to promote the guides for more possibilities and more income, or regulating the market to help them. One of the major priorities of our association was actually to become a member of WFTGA, and also to establish the world standards in our country. You know, Azerbaijan was former Soviet Republic country, and we got independent in 1991. So for the beginning, there was all the regulation were from the past Soviet Union. So it was very harsh and very strict regulations, which were outdated, to say it at least. And we tried to use the knowledge of those guys from the Soviet time, because they had the big capacity of knowledge, but the techniques, what is it to be a tour guide, they needed to be updated. And the first impact was also to become a member of WFTGA, and to help us with especially with the hot trainings. And we did manage to become in November 2019. So the goal was also to achieve, we have for the moment in Azerbaijan 1 international trainer. What we want for the future is to have more of those international trainers in Azerbaijan, especially at least 3 or 4. For that, we have started to work and started to make hot trainings with WFTGA here in Azerbaijan. In year 2019, we were able to make 2 English group trainings, 24 participants each, 2 Russian group training, 24 participants each, and 1 German speaking guides, so group training that was where there were 12 participants, and see 21 successfully passed those hot training for English speaking guides, 17 Russian speaking guides, and 7 German speaking guides. The major goal is, of course, to next year, we planned for this year also to organize 2 hot trainings, but the next, because of the pandemic, it was not possible and was not safe enough. So that's why we had to shut down borders, nearly kept us at home for two months. It was a lockdown with very harsh conditions. You needed to go to write a short message system to be able to walk out. Now this is different, and we are concentrating more in the inbound tourism, but still the international borders of Azerbaijan are closed because of the COVID-19, obviously. So we're planning for the next year to organize also 2 more hot trainings, 1 for English and 1 for Russian speaking guides. And also the next year with the help and partnership of GIZ to organize a top training to bring us 1 step closer for our goal to have more international trainers. One of the major projects which we used in year 2020 was, as I mentioned, we had a Minister of Tourism, which does not exist anymore. So the regulation of tourist guides was actually just in vacuum. So that's why we decided to write an appeal to Minister of Cabinet with the help of Azerbaijan Tourism Board, and to change the license to a special badge. You see an example of this badge on your screen, and to those guides which passed the license tests. It was a test which was separated in practical and theoretical part. In the theoretical part, they needed to answer 100 questions, and in the practical part, they needed to drive with to have a walking tour at least for 15 minutes. We changed it. We actually also gave the idea to include to this test for the future, which will be established by Azerbaijan Tourism Board, also a bus tour to the practical part, which is very necessary, especially nowadays, to increase the quality of guiding. And there were 120 guides which were still active and had those licenses from the former ministry. 64 of them, the license were not expired. You need to understand the license given by the ministry, and it will be also by the ATB nowadays, are giving after the successful pass of the test for 5 years. So 64 of those guides which still had a license and it was not expired, we decided to renew it and to give it with the help of our association and ATB, and this was one of the major projects which we have managed to do in year 2020. During the pandemic, well, it hit everyone hard around the globe, and you know, the humans are very interesting. They have a very interesting nature. We are learning to survive and to adapt to every situation. So major idea was in the tourism field, which we as a ATCA also introduced and supported, was the regulation for sanitation, hygienic methods and norms. Majority idea was for the tourist guides, because we wanted to increase domestic tourism. We wanted to increase and help for inbound tourism, which for our locals, because the borders were shut down, as I mentioned before. But we needed to do it more safety with the masks, with the special measures which were taken. We introduced the concept, and the state tourism and the agency actually developed this concept much further. They made it possible not only for the tourist guide, but also for the hotels. You see here tourist guides and transportation companies. So it is an online platform, on an e-learning platform based on the tourism board. And you as a tourist guide, for example, go there, register yourself without any charges, participate in the training, and after you successfully pass the training, you will receive a certificate from the State Tourism Agency and Azerbaijan Tourism Board and the Sahman project itself, which include that you are actually you have participated in those measures and you know how to take safety tours for further. At the moment, we have around in Azerbaijan around more than 700 guides, and 192 of those guides successfully completed the Sahman project. And at the moment, the State Tourism Agency is on the monitoring part. So they are going to monitor those tourist guides, those hotels, those transportation companies which are working at the moment, if they are taking those measures, and if they are sticking to the measures given by Sahman, by those norms. For the post-pandemic, which I was speaking with many of my colleagues around the globe, and the situation in Azerbaijan is very much like in other parts of the world. That's the majority of the guides, over 60%, as I mentioned, around 700 guides around in Azerbaijan, in the country itself. Over 60% are freelancer, and their major job is actually tourist guiding. So the government launched in the beginning, since March 2020, a financial support for the guides, but only those who are registered by the tax. Unfortunately, it was very few of them who were registered by the tax, and this is the reality which we are trying also to help to change that. And all the others, we are talking around 80% of whole guides, tourist guides in Azerbaijan, did not receive any payment. So this is why we as association started to plan to work with the government very close and to introduce two projects. We have introduced one of the major project is to support the guides by taking and picking cautiously the most experienced guides, make it an online platform where around 450 guides and 50 trainers, which are also guides, will be participate and share their knowledge. Especially those trainings will be how to do tourist guiding with the school children, how to participate with the different markets, what is the agenda, what is the mindset, what is the mentality, how to work with the individual special questions depending on the market. So this project was passed on to the Financial Ministry of Azerbaijan. They liked it very much, and they're starting this. They want to start this project on behalf with our association to support. At least it will be online, and 2 minimum wage salaries will be given to each participant of this training, and afterwards there will be a short test also online, and each guides who successfully passed this training will be also receiving again 2 wage salary minimum. So we introduced also another project because we did not know which one will be more suitable and which will be passing, because they supported the idea to support tourist guides here in Azerbaijan, to not change the field, to not lose them for the industry. And the other project was much major. We as an association, one of the major priorities is to increase the quality of guiding here in Azerbaijan. And we made a special area specified training for our capital and the surrounding area. And those trainings are taking 6 months. We shortened them up. There will be teaching everything starting up from the history till first aid, for example. So we covered the major area of tourism guiding, and we shortened them up from 6 months to 4 months. And there will be around 300 guides again online who will participate. Those trainings they do cost. Actually, they are not very cheap, but the government are willing to pay that for each guide, for each participant. And more than that, each month, for every participant, for every guide who will participate in these trainings, to increase the quality of guiding, they will give also minimum wage salary, monthly minimum wage salary registered in Azerbaijan. That's approximately 200 euros. So for 4 months period. So that will be also a great thing which we are working on. I think that will be passed on standing up from the January 2021. because it's a big project, and to organize it, it will take time. But they really like this idea. We as an association, even though we are a non-governmental organization, but we had some grants and funds to support at least our members. We made the analysis who were in very drastic financial situation, and once we supported them with also 2 minimum wage salaries, 44 members. And now before the new year, end of this year, we are passing also to support 61 guides financially. So to not stay and put what we have managed to do nowadays, we divided, especially to increase the inbound tourism, we divided the whole country in 6 different regions and started to give regional trainings.
I'm afraid time is up. Please come to your conclusion.
Sure. Regional trainings and also online webinars, which we are doing at the moment. One of the major online webinars, for example, Karabakh region webinar for the tourist guides, and the different regional trainings, which you can see as an example on the screen. So thank you very much for the attention, and I hope we're gonna soon see us in 2022 in Serbia, and it was great having you. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm more than welcome to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tural. Çok sağ ol. It was a very nice presentation, although you started late, but your achievement is quite wonderful, and you put more attention on education, which is very, very necessary. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, since we had 3 presentation, let's go to Q&A. If you have any question from Nerice from Cameroon, Jackie from Washington, DC, and Tural from Azerbaijan, you can ask now. Any question?
Banafsheh, there were 2 questions in the chat that perhaps we can just put to the presenters again. I know they have answered in writing, but perhaps they can answer verbally. So there was one for Nerice. Nerice, did you have financing from the Ministry of Tourism, was the question.
Yes, Viola, we didn't have financing from the Ministry of Tourism. We had other forms of support for our events. It could be paperwork, offering us buses free of charge for our tours. But the government has promised, I mean, it was announced 3 months ago that there's an allocation of 40 million, about $80,000 for travel agencies and tourist guides. So we are still waiting, and we are hopeful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, Banafsheh, we have another question. This one is for Jackie. Jackie, there was a question, how long does it take for a guide to get the necessary qualifications, and how do you test the knowledge of these guides?
So we have, as a guild, a resource handbook. And so once someone applies online and provides us a copy of their DC license and their 3 letters of recommendation, then we will send them the guide resource handbook, and they study from that. And that's about 70 pages. And from that, then they're able to take our online quiz. And most people do pass. If they study hard, they will pass our quiz. Yeah.
Is there any practical evaluation?
Once you become a guide, you're at our we have 3 levels of guides. We have a guild guide, that's the entry level, a guild certified guide, and then a master guide. And so the guild guide has to take the practical. They have to do motor coach training. You have to earn 25 continuing education units through our education programs and training programs. And then the practical is you have another test, an oral test that you have to take. You have to present to your peers. You have to go through different levels in order to make it to that certified. And then once you're a guide once you're certified, then you can apply for our certified master guide program. And that's a 5-year program. So we have those 3 levels. And technically, guides at the higher level are paid more than those at the entry level.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So, Alushca, since there is no question, can we move to the next presentation?
I think Banafsheh, Ava is back with us and would like to try her presentation again. So if we could move back to Ava and give her the opportunity.
Yes, Ava, please.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes, okay. Now I try share screen, yes. And
Yes, done.
It was not so easy, but finally, okay, now.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so now I think this is proper now. So I am really very happy to be with you again. Good morning, all of you, and thank you for your patience. Now, this is really the first time that I am here with you, and this was not very easy. Now, let me introduce, please. I am Eva Cesar, and for 3 years I have been the chairperson of the National Federation of Hungarian Tour Guides or Tourist Guides. And first of all, yes, on the first picture, you could see our beautiful capital city of Budapest. Maybe not all of you have been visited our city, and maybe I can tell you where we are. So we are in the very central part of Europe. We say in the heart of Europe, and we are on the edge of East and West. So earlier we belonged to the eastern part of Europe. 40 years long we had the socialism, while the other half had the capitalism. But since 1989, the socialism was falling, and now we joined the European Union in the year 2004. Okay, so you can see a beautiful river which is flowing here in the middle of the city, dividing our capital into 2 major parts in Buda and Pest. You know, so now a little bit about our federation. So we are representing the interest of the tour guides in Hungary, whether they are Hungarian or not Hungarian at all, because we have also some tour guides in Budapest, also with different nationalities. And some of them are also members of our organization. Our aims is professional recognition, so that we are recognized properly and acknowledged our knowledge, and because we experienced for a very long time that our knowledge is not on that level accepted or recognized as it should be, based on our knowledge and capabilities. We also would like social appreciation and prestige, so that all the society should know us better and have more information about our work. And of course, fair remuneration as well, which is very, very different in our country. And finally, we would like to have returning guests. Our tasks are cooperation with the Hungarian Tourism Agency, with other governmental bodies, with the municipality, with other organizations of the tourism. These are our partners. Those organizations are of the hotels, for example, and the restaurants and travel agencies, inbound and inbound tourism, and so on and so on. We are also organizing some training programs, study tours to upgrade the knowledge of our members. Several times new restaurants or wine stores or exhibitions organizers are inviting us to make connections with us and to bring guests there to visit. And also we are there are some institutions or businesses who are requesting tour guides for their guests, and in this way we are passing on some jobs to our members or non-members. Our members can make guided tours in 30 languages, and yearly we have around 60 or 70 bookings. Yes, and of course we are also involved in the World Tourist Guides Day as well, but also and also we are rewarding the best tourist guide of the year as well. So it is every year a program. And we are providing information, of course, and we are issuing the newsletters. Now you can see some pictures about our programs. Museum of Fine Arts was renovated and reorganized with the Hungarian National Gallery. So, and it was an informal meeting and a walk and information about this new structure. And you can see here a Hungarian restaurant where we are guests several times. And here you can see in this picture on the right side an early Christian under church in Budapest, in the middle of Budapest, and on the Pest side underneath a Baroque church. So it is also very, very interesting. Okay, and here you can see that we have a friendship with the Slovakian Association, and we made an excursion to Bratislava, and the Hungarian tour guide in Bratislava guided us. And we had also a meeting organized in 2018 with the help of the Hungarian Tourism Agency. It was a meeting of Hungarian tourist guides living and working in Slovakia, in Ukraine, Romania, and Serbia. The aim was to get to know each other and to each other's activities and to cooperate in the future. So it was a very nice meeting. We had this January our General Assembly. It's every year the same. So always, every year at the end of January, the General Assembly takes place. And it was the best of all assemblies in the life of Miss, because we celebrated the 30th anniversary, and very noble guests we could have with us. For example, you can maybe recognize here Mary Kemp Clark from Scotland, the previous deputy chair of WFTGA, and also Marian Bilacic from Slovakia. And we had also distinguished guests as well from the tourism agency and many, many more organizations. And at the end, we had a very nice wine tasting with 200 years old barrels. Here you can see a picture of this year's award ceremony on the first day of the tourism fair. It was held like every year. So here you can see the two best tourist guides of Hungary from the year 2019. And then in early March, the pandemic came already, and very soon, by the middle of March, all the groups disappeared from Budapest, and Budapest became empty, and the tourist guides were left without any work. And very soon the government introduced some measures. Government exempted employers and individual entrepreneurs of certain professions from paying some kinds of taxes, except of income tax. So it was not a very high amount, but still something. But it was introduced also a wage subsidy in some of the tourism, some of the fields in the tourism, not all of them. And also loan repayment moratorium was introduced for everybody, and some other measures as well. So mainly those working in hotels were subsidized by the government. And also some groups of entrepreneurs with small businesses were exempted from paying all kinds of tax. But unfortunately, none of the regulation covered the tourist guides or others in the tourism, just in a very little way. But for the tour guides, there was nothing at that time, really nothing. So that's why a campaign was started, and we consulted with the Chamber of Commerce, with the Hungarian Tourism Agency. We clarified the importance of the tourist guides in the tourism, because I think we play a very, very important role in the tourism. And one of the arguments was that most of European countries provided financial help also to their tour guides as well. And there was no result, unfortunately. So we turned even to Prime Minister's office, and then we cooperated also with travel agencies organization. And as a result, tour operators and tourist guides were also included under the scope of the first law, exemption from paying some kind of taxes, except of income tax, by the end of March until July. It was beneficial for 30% of tourist guides, approximately 30% of the tourist guides, but 70% of them having small businesses, because this is the majority of the tourist guides having small business. So 70% of them were still excluded from this help. So then we turned to the National Tax and Customs Administration, and finally to the Minister of Finances as well. The answer was tourist guides are allowed to pay their tax with a delay of a half year, or to pay their tax in monthly rates for 1 year. So, and of course they promised to work on further possibilities. So what many tour guides did in this situation is to suspend entrepreneurship for some months or even for 1 year. Unfortunately, this period will, however, not be included into the years to get pension. So this is a very bad thing. And this is allowed for up to 2 years by law. And the other thing was that many of the tour guides were applying for job-seeking benefit as well, or they found other jobs. So later on, many, especially the younger tourist guides could find a job in an at a company or in another institutions. So there were during the summer a lot of reports in the media on tourist guides. So we had really a good media response. So we said that even if we could not achieve what would have been needed so badly, support from the state, from the government, still we could raise awareness in the society on who we are, what is our work, why our work is so important in people's understanding and creating value. So, and then we decided to do something which can be useful for the society. And we initiated an activity to help children to learn, because at that time, you know, from April approximately, during April and May, the people had to stay at home and having home office. So people had to work from their homes. And also the schools were closed down, so all the families had to stay at home. And but still there were a lot of people who had to go for work. For example, doctors and nurses in the hospitals, and in the bakeries had to work. The food stores, the supermarkets had to be worked. So all these people had to go to work, of course. And in this way, children needed help to learn, because also for them it was an online teaching. And so we created a website. We involved the other Tour Guides Association, MIE, and together we created a website, and everybody created. It was approximately 20 of us. 20 tourist guides were involved in this project, and everybody created their profile and the subjects and the dates and times of availability. So in this way,
can you hear me?
Pardon?
Eva, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Could you conclude, please? You had 16 minutes so far. Please conclude.
Okay. Now, and then we had a flash mob at the end of June, and we had also a big demonstration of all tourism. You can see here the pictures, and the petition was signed up and overhanded to the government representatives. And we had, and we could achieve, however, that the tourism agency announced a project that for tourist guides living outside of Budapest, so on the countryside, and they could make an application. So altogether, 132 tourist guides were successful in this project, and they have to create these descriptions of different regions or other areas of Hungary. So they could have an amount between 200 and 3,000 euros. Okay, so it is not too much, but still something. And we also contacted the Minister of Human Resources that tourist guides having university degrees could work as a teacher, and now so we are cooperating with the university or with the ministry as well. Okay, now you can see some facts from Budapest. Budapest has been elected to be the best European destination, and we had
Eva.
yes, okay, you can see all this. Yes, we had some nice programs, and yes, and this is the end. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Eva. It was a very nice presentation, and we really love to actually listen to you and know about all details. But unfortunately, the time limit actually doesn't let us to give you more time. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So without wasting any time, let's invite Alice from Tallinn Guide Association, Estonia. Alice, please.
Can you hear me? And can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes,
we can
thank
hear
you.
and see your presentation.
Okay, well, I'm going to take you across Europe then, from Hungary to the shores of the Baltic Sea. And I'm saying hello from Tallinn, Estonia. And I'd like to thank the WFTGA for organizing these sessions. And thank you to all the other associations for sharing your stories. It's been very inspiring. My name is Elise, and I'm from the board of the Tallinn Guide Association. And I've been a guide since 1999 and on our board for quite some time as well. Just to remind you where Estonia is, as we all come from different parts of the world, we are probably amongst the most northernmost members of the WFTGA. So Estonia is a small country. We're one of the 3 Baltic countries, and we just have a population of 1.3 million. And Tallinn has then about a third of the entire population of the country. So as an association, we go back to 1992, and we're also registered as a non-profit organization. And we've been in the WFTGA since 2007. Perhaps you were there, or you remember that in 2011, we hosted the 14th WFTGA convention here in Tallinn. Currently, we have 160 members. Unfortunately, due to the situation, it is evident that we will be losing some members, but fingers crossed. We offer tours in 20 languages, and we also have our own code of ethics. And as a tourist association here in Tallinn, we are also responsible for licensing tourist guides in Tallinn, although Estonia is actually not a regulated country. How did the year begin? As we all celebrate our day, the International Tourist Guide Day, on the 21st of February, then here in Tallinn, we traditionally offer free tours to local residents. And each year we pick a theme. So this year we focused on guiding children's groups. You can see a colleague of mine guiding a group of school children there. And as an event, we always have an evening do. So this year we met up in the Fotografiska Center in Tallinn. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept, if we have anyone from Stockholm listening or from New York, where the Fotografiska also opened. It's a world-renowned photography center. So that's where we had our event. Although the picture of us together here on screen is from our 25th anniversary a couple of years ago. And as the story goes, from over-tourism to no tourism, 2019 was a record year for many of us. Estonia, imagine, receives 4.5 million visitors annually. So that's 3 times as much as the population of the country. And when on March 12th, we went into what we here called an emergency situation, not really a lockdown, then what perhaps made things easier for Estonia is that as we're small, we're also known as quite a digital pioneer in the whole world. We often welcome our guests by saying, welcome to Estonia, if you get what I mean. So we've also introduced many startups to the world. And the first sort of pandemic wave was handled quite well, with schools being on digital learning and people being used to remote working. And then when we opened up again, we created this Baltic bubble. So people traveled freely within the Baltic countries. We're very close to Finland, and about half of our visitors actually come from Finland. So there was a noticeable surge of domestic tourism in the summer, but mostly it was in the rural areas, so outside the capital Tallinn, which suffered the most. And what also characterizes Estonia is that many people have a second home in the country, and that's where they spend their summers. So the streets of the capital city of Tallinn were completely deserted. And tourism very much is focused on foreign tourists. So local tourism was sort of more rural, countryside centered. But, as we come from different countries, we have different economies, and we did have a government furlough scheme, which gave some support, but not to everybody. And then we've had one tourism package, but again, it didn't include guides directly. Now we have a second package released at the end of this week, literally this Friday. And as a result of our efforts, guides were finally included. So as a nice sort of bit of a Christmas bonus, or however we'd call it, our colleagues will be able to get a lump sum. But the unfortunate thing is that many have had to close their businesses and have deregistered themselves as self-employed, because you just can't wait, and many won't get anything in that case. So what did we do? Well, first it was a bit of wait and see, and in late May, early June, we organized a survey amongst our members. And we then discovered that 60% of members had pretty much lost more than 60% or even 100% of their annual income. We sent letters to the ministries who are responsible for tourism. We do not have a ministry for tourism as such. Stressed the fact that guides should be included in case another relief package would be available, because nobody was actually talking about the guides. They were talking about hotels and travel agencies. So we published a couple of articles in the media, and we tried to sort of maintain a positive tone, not sort of complain about how bad the situation is. So we did manage to make ourselves visible, and we were approached by partner organizations who were facing similar difficulties. And we formed several working groups within the association to promote tours to locals. Well, the thing is that being a small country, and when you are a city of 450,000, then attracting locals isn't that easy, because people have this been there, done that mentality. And locals feel that once they've been in our UNESCO Heritage Old Town Centre, they've already seen it all. But this year then we managed to get included in the city's official Christmas program. So I'll come back to this later as well, but we have then Christmas themed tours that we launched last week actually. And the current situation here in Estonia relating to the pandemic is the following. It may come as a surprise to you that mask wearing only became mandatory basically yesterday, and you have to wear a mask only in indoor public spaces and on public transport. In Estonia, you have to follow what's called the 2+2 rule, meaning that 2 people can be within a 2-meter distance from another group of 2 people. And we find it a little funny because Estonians are very private. And normally we walk alone and a lot further than this 2 meters from another human being. So this is just a little joke we have. Of course, many tourist-oriented businesses have closed down, and people find it difficult to adapt to the new normality. Many of you have been speaking about having specific protocols and guidelines relating to hygiene, etc. We do not have such sort of strict protocols related to guiding. Obviously, we protect ourselves and we protect our visitors. There's the hand sanitizing, etc. But as we are now in our sort of darkest time of the year. It is November, we're in the Northern Hemisphere, and winter is here. Although it's quite bright out there today. Actually, the warmest day we've had in November, even in many years. We still are facing a couple of difficult 4 or 5 months ahead of us. And just to end on a positive note, as I mentioned, we then at first were able to enjoy our summer. You know, when you've been working out flat out for several years, and at least it was nice to have a bit of a break. But obviously, as many guides and in our association, about half work as guides part-time, then about another 25% are seniors who were about to retire anyway, and then about a quarter then are those who are guides full-time. Then many haven't had any work for almost a year now, because tourism here is also very seasonal, mainly then from May until October. But we had a really nice sort of solidarity within our association, and you know, when hearing your stories, we realized that we're not alone in this. And I mentioned the working groups we've had, and Christmas tours. We're looking forward to being able still to conduct them. Yesterday there was a question about Christmas markets. I'll just quickly mention that our Christmas market here in Tallinn is going ahead. It's on a smaller scale, and last year it got voted best in Europe. And if you look at this photo, then this is our promotional poster for the tours. And the Christmas tree that you see there was then allegedly one of the first public Christmas trees put up in Europe already back in 1441. So I think that's actually it from me. I rushed it through. If you have any questions, appreciate your attention, and don't hesitate to get in touch, and looking forward to seeing you via not just a screen at some point. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alice. It was a nice presentation. As you said, that they put more attention to other tourism sectors rather than tourist guide. We face the same problem here. So poor tourist guide all over the world. Thank you very much. So let's move to Meng from Malaysian Women Tourist Guide Association. Please.
Good evening, everyone from Malaysia. Currently, we are at 5:35 p.m. now. Okay, so probably it's good morning to some of you, or good day to all of you. Okay, so thank you for inviting us. Just to share with you a little bit quick story about the journey on MWTGA in short. And my name is Irina, because Meng is a given name. So usually the industry, they call me Irina, E-R-I-N-A. But I'm not a Russian, okay? I'm a Malaysian. So we are actually established since 2006, okay? Because of the some safety issue for the women tourist guide. And I think we are the first what we call the women association, I think in the Southeast Asia. I'm not sure in the other part of the world you have the name of a women tourist guide. But we actually have some transformation in 2017. That currently, if you look at our number of active of MWTGA member, that we have actually include male member now. So sometimes they like to call us as Men and Women Tourist Guide Association instead of Malaysian women, men and women. Okay, so MW. So we are one of the national tourist guide association, because in Malaysia we have quite a numbers, and we do have a council also. So we are quite actively, because we not only just involve for our members, but we also assisting our government in terms of many other functions. And we also the member of Southeast Asia Tourist Guide Association. Okay, so here is like, I know after listening to all of you, I understood like we all really going through the tough time. So we call it ourselves now is at movement control order. So we allow activities, we allow, for economic activities, but of course with big capacity, all been restricted. So currently borders are not open. So it's not easy for us to fly out and in. And but for essential business purposes and with official documents and guarantor and something, if you have enough of money, you still can come in, but with the quarantine of the 14 days. So look at the situation. We started, most of our guide being jobless since January. Okay, since January, because Malaysia is one of the market are very much on depending on Chinese tourists. Okay, and since January, I would say that about 50% already lost their job. And when come to the March, I would say it's 100%. We all lost our job. So in the total in our country, with the word license and active tourist guide, so approximately about 17,000. So what happened was, in our association, what do? We actually, the first association make an initiative. We turn our membership fees. Instead of we just collect as a membership fees, so we're using the membership fees to help our licensed tourist guide to sustain their license. Because in Malaysia, government requirement is if you want to be renew your license, every year you need 3 continual tourism related education program. So at least you have to attend 3 courses. So what happened is now what we do is we turn this membership fees and we will provide them 3 free courses. And this is not any sponsorship from anybody. This is just our association own initiative. So what are the focusing on these free courses? So we would like to focus on the word interpretation skills, arranging and organizing skill, and technology for enhancement. Due to the new normal procedures now, and also we couldn't go back to the previously, so we were all looking because our Ministry of Health is keep emphasizing that we need to have social distancing, capacity control, and you have to apply all the SOP and like confined spaces, close conversation, and these are all not permitted. So that is where we are preparing our tourist guide to go into the new era, or we would like to say the new normal, or I would say better normal. Okay, so this is some examples and some activities are being carried out this year. So we, because currently in all our attraction site and most of the state, we were divided into ourselves red zone, green zone, or the orange zone. So whenever there is a green zone and orange zone, then we are still fine. We can carry out, some activity. But the moment you are in red zone, then I'm just sorry. So most of the activity, we just need to be canceled. So this is some of the tour or the what you call the training that we conducting, such as like Old Town Walk, and we also do like some skill for them to enhancing on their arts, such as like batik chanting. This is actually it's like a wax drawing, yeah. And also we have like encourage them into the sustainable way, like using reusable or recycle whatever material and turn into the traditional games. And also we do some like cooking experience, because we want our tourist guide to be multitasking now, not just only know how to do your narrative storytelling, but also more on hands-on experience. And also we encourage them go into like dance, because this is all preparing that in the future when our world is being held back, so that our tourist guide, they able to be ready themselves more on the cultural experience to our fellow guests. And this is also now we are very much depending on domestic for our local market. So we cannot conduct our tour just like a normal guiding tour. So we have to turn everything into like a workshop basis, so that people just come and join and learn something. And we also encourage the public and even their family members to do together with us. So the benefits for our members from 20 to 21, because looking at the current situation, we also realizing that no way we can get the tourists to come back as soon in 2021. So our association have decided that we will continue to give them the free continuous tourism related education at least for 3. So help them to sustain another year, they're able to renew their license. And the topics that normally we focusing on, we actually just based on the word TOURIST. So in other words, it's like in all our activity, we divided to like Old Town topic, originality of food, UNESCO, rainforest, islands, spiritual and traditional trade. So this is our direction. And during this whole pandemic session, actually we do a lot of webinar. Okay, so because we also the member of Southeast Asia Tourist Guide Association, and then we also have member connecting to other part of the Southeast Asia. So we have to every month, in fact, every month. So we have 2 session engagement with the members all over in Malaysia and also in the Southeast Asia. Yeah, so you can see that the contents is like 1 month, once a month, every 3rd week. And also introduction of the destination and also explanation, the do's and don'ts, and also the policy. So we will share some policy emphasize. And then I would like to thanks for WFTGA also, because in one of your group platform, you allow us to share all this information and also our webinar. So for those who are interested, you know, you may just view from the Facebook also, okay? And because of this whole pandemic also make us realizing that, you know, we need to diversify ourselves, and then we have actually created MBS channel. So this MBS channel is actually stand for no bullshit. Okay, so it's mainly that we want our tourist guide, you know, still keep the spirit, and we've got with the better normal. So we're talking about like the theme is more on learn the culture, live with the heritage, and give hope to the local community. So we never give out our hope, please. Okay, and like just now I mentioned also, we try to transform ourselves. So technology or for the enhancement, such as like website and social media support. So this is, in fact, that was our last year project. And we already actually in the middle of preparing ourselves that come out our own website, but with the name of Southeast Asia Heritage, because we believe in one day we can't depend very much to our travel agent. So the only way is we have to encourage our members or tourist guide to be small, medium entrepreneurs or go into the social enterprise. And also from there, you can become a tour operators and we are trying to supporting and help them to develop their own products so that they can sell or they can promote themselves. So this is also in a way like, you know, to help them. So in our association is quite unique also, because in Malaysia, we don't allow tourist guide to sell any tours. We are not allowed to. So actually we have a strong partnership. And then we also have the travel agent license so that we can help all our members to be legalized if they want to promote their tours, their activity, and etc. Okay, so this is our social media platform. So for those who are interested, you may take a look. And this is a very interesting is 5th of November. We actually been invited by one of our popular local media, which is the TV3. And it's just 1 day before our Malaysia budget being published. So this is the first time also we are feeling very grateful, because like some of our colleagues in other part of the world, same. Tourist guide are never been heard. So in the year of 2020, our government is only help us on 600 ringgit Malaysia, okay, for the license who are valid, license are valid. So approximately to euro is about 124. And for US dollar is about like 147. Around that. So that's all. So the rest is all we have to depending on ourselves. And then most of the tourist guide currently, they are changing. Some of them temporarily, they have to change their job titles also. So they have to look into like other jobs and so on in order for them to keep their living, because most of us are still freelancing. And this is the reason why when in the budget, Malaysia budget 2021 in the 5th of November, when I was being interviewed in the TV, so I was actually representing and try to calling the government to do understand that freelancers is not a good idea at all, because based on this pandemic, we realizing that because we don't have a proper security and also the financial support, even like we wanted to start a small business because we are so individually, we can't get loan and we can't get any funding also. So, and then I think in the future, this is what we learned, that we have to, some kind of this professional cannot be always have the word freelancers. Yeah. And because in Malaysia, I think in most of Southeast Asia country, our biggest issue is all the government is only work with licensed tour operator and travel agent. And for them to start up a company, it has to be private limited. So it's a very high cost. So that's the reason why now we are seeking and we are trying to negotiating, and we also asking the government should allow more SM, small medium enterprise, or like professional, those who have their own products and they are just doing activity, shouldn't be giving them the too much of the red tapes for them to start their business. Okay.
Please
and
come to your conclusion.
sure, this is my last slide. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So this is about all that I would like to sharing with all of you. And the last phrase, better normal with purposeful sensory journey. So I know it's coming here very tough, but I really wish all of us have to stay very strong ourselves, good health, and never give up. And thank you to keep the pride of this profession. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Erina. Malaysia boleh.
Terima kasih.
Yeah, terima kasih. Yeah, thank you very much. I did my master and PhD in Malaysia, so I have very nice memory during those 7 years of studying in Malaysia. Thank you very much. And I think now we can go to Q&A.
Thank you, Banafsheh.
Yeah, since we have since we reached to another 3 presentations, so now we can have Q&A.
Sure. So we just have 2 questions that came up in the chat box, and if we wouldn't mind getting replies to those. Firstly, this one was for Ava. Ava, there was a question asking, how do you evaluate the guides, the tourist guides that are up for the Tourist Guide of the Year? And what criteria do you choose the best one? Ava, you're on mute.
Yes,
There we
yes,
go.
now, okay.
Perfect.
So it has a certain structure. So it is basically on voting. Okay, in the earlier years, it was different, and then last year we changed the rules, and now it is more simple. In the last period, in the last year, tourist guides, the colleagues themselves had to choose from themselves and voting, and those that tourist guide who got the most votes was getting the best. And this was the very first time that we had 2 of them, so with 2 equal number of votes.
Okay, thank you, Ava. And then I have a question for Alice from Estonia. So I think you did reply to this in writing, but if you wouldn't mind responding verbally, the question was, how high is the amount given by the government? And is it for all tourist guides or rather for guides who are small business owners? And what are the prerequisites of these applications?
Okay, thank you for the question. So the relief package, which is then now coming out this week and does finally include guides, as we did have another earlier package in June, but guides were not directly included. However, in case you qualified, then you could get this aid. But guides still have to be registered as business owners or sole proprietors. That's the legal term. I know that you know, basically you have to be a freelancer in order to apply, and it's a lump sum of 3,000 euros. for most, because the qualification criterion, the basic criterion is that in 2019, you had to have a turnover of at least 12,000 euros, because some official in the ministry somewhere thinks that if you're an entrepreneur, then you have to be able to make at least 1,000 euros a month here. This is the local way of thinking. So 12,000 is this threshold, but there are guides obviously who don't qualify because their threshold isn't high enough, it's just below. Or the other thing is that many have deregistered because if you are registered as an entrepreneur or as a freelancer, you have to pay taxes, and if you don't have any income from guiding, you know, the snowball effect. So a few qualified in spring, and then I don't know how many will be able to get this aid coming up. But hopefully, at least this is something that we worked for, and hopefully some will at least benefit from it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And another question for you, actually, how many tourist guides are in Estonia? Do you know?
Well, in Tallinn, we have 220 licensed guides, 160 in our association. And then as for the total number of Estonia, we usually give the figure 450 or so. But it is an estimate because literally anyone can call themselves a guide. And as our National Tourism Organization likes to think that being a small country, every resident of 1.3 million is an ambassador of Estonia and can be a guide to anyone who visits.
We say that with tongue in cheek. Thank you so much. Banafsheh, we have the poll ready to go, if you are good to go with that.
Yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you, Sebastian. Would you like to put the poll up? So presenters, you unfortunately cannot take part, but those watching, if you could please complete the two questions. You should be seeing one question. Are you able to start guiding in your city and region? If you could please select your answer from those choices given. And the second question is, how much do you rely on guiding as an income? And we'll give this a minute or so, just to allow everyone to complete it. Okay, I see we already have a couple of leaders on the options. We'll give it a few more seconds. We only have had 22% of people participate. There we go, that's increasing. Great. Interesting to see how the graphs are going. And right, we're almost at 45% having voted. Okay, and I think that gives us last few seconds. If you haven't chosen your answers, please do so now. And we will close the polling. Okay, so with the first question, we have, are you able to start guiding in your city and region? And it seems the majority have chosen yes with rigorous limitations. And this is actually the same answer as yesterday. Most people chose that option as an answer. And the second question, how much do you rely on guiding as an income? Full-time and only income seems to be the response today, the majority response, and close behind it, full-time with more than 50% of the income. So thank you very much for participating. That is very useful information, and we will be sharing this with our members as well. So Banafsheh, I'll hand back over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, viewer, for voting. And once again, I want to thank Eva, Alice, and Irena for their nice presentation. Let's go to Hungarian Tourist Guides Association. That I want to invite Krisztina to start her presentation. Krisztina?
Thank you for reminding. Yes, so let me start again. Okay, so my name is Krisztina Tamási. I'm from Budapest, Hungary, and I'm member of the Hungarian Tourist Guides Association. I am responsible for the ethics and international relations. So greetings from Budapest again, and we are very much honored that we can be with the WFTGA from this year on, together with our colleagues in MIS as well. So let me come to my presentation. Okay, I do hope you can see it.
Yes, we do.
Let me switch myself off, at least. So, good. All right. So our association is with the MIE as the abbreviation to it, because it comes from the Hungarian Tourist Guide Association, actually the same thing. So you have heard already quite a lot of our knowledge and oral things from Hungary, from Eva, but so I will skip some of those parts she had already. That's easier. We have about 14,500 tourist guides in the country, but not so much are active. So we have the active ones are about 4,500, and around 4,000 are in Budapest and in the very near surrounding. Our Tourist Guide Association started only 4 years ago, so 2016, and we have in this year 203 members. Which is differing, of course, because of COVID situation, some people couldn't pay their membership, so that they are just pausing or having a break in this case, and then we receive some new ones because according of certain lectures we are holding. In the down top, you can see a small map for where Hungary is, for those who probably not been in Europe or even in this part of the globe, just that you know where we are. So we have some similar ones that MIS has as well, to lift up standards or to have a better profession and on a high level represent the profession interest in licensed tourist guides in Hungary. Good communications with professionals, politicians, and cooperations with institution, tourism industries, and nationwide and abroad as well. So to keep up the professional level, well, we have all kinds of educations on and offline, which became more popular the online nowadays, sorry to say. Our association expects all its members to comply with the Code of Ethics, and which we changed together with MIS together this year to have one for the whole country. Then we have a professional hub to provide necessity for the tourist guides if it's necessary. And we have all kinds of visitings, like on our website, you can choose the Hungarian tourist guides or members, so to say. So we have an extra platform for that. A short summary about tourism nowadays, so 2020. Or even to go back in history a little bit. So we have in the last 5 years a huge increase amount coming people visiting the country. Actually, almost it was doubling each year, and until this year, approximately end of February, and in the middle of March, it stopped suddenly, as Eva told us as well. So we had received a lockdown as well. After the first wave, we had only private tourists coming, mostly in small groups or friends, families, mostly from the German-speaking countries. They are more closer from the Austrian line, or even from the V4 countries, which is including Slovakia, Poland, Czech Republic, and Hungary. So, but of course, to say that's the V4, so to say. We had also some ship companies arriving, 1 or 2, mostly the German ones, again, only July, August. In September, we had the borders closed down suddenly, and they just stopped without getting out. But the domestic tourism started to become very strong. July, August, September, a lot of people were moving around in the country, and mostly on the countryside, hotels were full beside the lakes. We have one in the western part of the country, which is called Balaton, you can see as an orange part. And then we have one on the blue side, the right side of the blue, the Lake Tisza. And Budapest hotels were not filled at all, so between 7 and 20%, which is very, very low. Domestic walking tours became very flourishing in the whole country and in Budapest as well, so that was a great success. A lot of tourist guides started to do their own private tours, as they were not receiving much from the tourist agencies at all. So what do we have? Limitations. We have not much limitation in the country, so we didn't receive any according to that. Of course, apart from keeping the 1.5 meters distance between each other, except for family members and who live in the same apartment. Masks were not obligatory only for inside parts for a long time, only from the beginning of November. We have to wear masks on the streets as well, except for parks and green areas. And it differs sometimes from some of the regions. It can be controlled on their own, or they can give their own regulations. We didn't need to wear a mask as long as we were guiding, either inside or outside, but nowadays it's getting different. But of course we cannot guide since we have the second wave lockdown, so to say, which means that more than 1 or 2 people cannot meet on the streets. So we were talking quite a lot about supporting for all over. I was hearing now as well. We didn't have much. You could hear it from Eva as well, that we had all kinds of possibilities we were fighting. Let's say we had possibilities for fighting. Our association had wrote some studies. We had some questionnaires on our members so that we can provide the studies. And we were having different letters written to different institutions, Cabinet Office of Prime Minister, Chamber of Commerce, Hungarian Tourism Agency, and all kinds of these. We didn't have much answer, or if the answer was anything at all, then it was so meaningless that as if they wouldn't have even read it. So we tried to speak with all kind of media. We were in different radio shows, or even in newspapers, and all kinds of online possibilities. And
last minute.
Yeah, it got stuck. Then the ice cracked a little bit. So we received, the countryside received a kind of help. For 149 TGs received a little help, but only the problem is that they received it they could buy an equipment for their business, but not for food or for bills. So I don't want to go on with this because it's so mostly we heard it from Eva. So our association, let's make it up there. We have International Tourist Day. We held each year. We have 4 days, most of walking tours, and on the weekend, on the main day, on the Sunday, we have all kinds of special by the organizations, by the associations organized as well, not just the Chamber of Commerce. And we had different walking tours, either in a music academy or in the hills of Buda, or in the art museum of the Fine Art Museum, or Aquincum, the Roman excavation part. We have 90 minutes free tourist guiding on a bus organized by the Chamber of Commerce, and also 60 minutes free tours. These are free tours for the inhabitants of Budapest or the country, whoever comes. Here you can see some pictures from our association members, and also some other guests who are taking part in the International Tourist Day. We had some developments according to our website. We translated into English so that you understand something, but of course the most activity is in the Hungarian version. And we implemented a so-called tourist guide search, where you can look for your tourist guide if you come and visit to Hungary. Then we have some education parts, which is we had during the lockdown online, and when we had these few months, 3 months, July, August, September, where we could go outside and have entertainment outside, we could make some study tours. We have these language tours, language studies, online for those guides who speak a certain language, but they don't use it as a working language at the moment, but they still have a language exam for it. So we had some of these kind of lecture for Budapest. And then we had like homepage making training for VIX, or we had so-called how to write a good CV, for example, for those who need to look for another job. Or we have all kinds of lectures like misbeliefs in history or flag shields and others. So we have all kinds. They are almost on the weekly basis on online, either one or two of these. So here you can see some pictures again, but this time only from the association members, where we had these twice this year, one-day tour, study tour, so to say, in different parts of the country. And this is mostly in Budapest. We have an underground line, so to say, tunnel cave system under the old town of Buda. And there we had a very nice guiding, and all the other rest you can see as well, what we have online and offline version. So, and then I would like to show you a short video. Sorry, I might have to go back.
Krisztina, your time is actually up. Let's ask if there's time for the video. How long is it?
I can just, just switch on, or how shall I say it? Keep over it.
Perhaps you can put the link into the chat. We can watch it at our leisure.
Just a few seconds, perhaps. Is it possible? Please, please, please. Can you see it? No, I can't see it. Okay, I'm sorry you can't see it. Okay, then I will put it in. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much, Krisztina. Yeah, definitely we will watch the video. We copy the link. It was interesting that you focus on your infrastructure. We call it like soft infrastructure and hard infrastructure. So you put more emphasis in soft infrastructure to work on your website and education. Thank you very much. Nice presentation. Now let's invite Mark from British Guild of Tourist Guide, London. All yours.
Well, good morning, everybody. Greetings from London, capital of the United Kingdom, and thank you for this invitation. Very briefly to introduce myself, I'm a Blue Badge tourist guide qualified for the London region 10 years ago, and I'm the former chairman of the British Guild of Tourist Guides and have been on the executive council. I'd like to share some ideas about what we've been going through here in the United Kingdom with the national membership body for guides, but more importantly, not to restate the issues that we've all been facing together, because I think they're pretty familiar, but to try and focus on solutions or on germs of good ideas that might help you. And also to set this in the context of some, shall we say, uniquely British challenges that we've done to shoot ourselves in the foot, which give you a context as well. So I'm going to share my screen now and take you through a presentation. Here we go. Are you seeing that? I hope you're seeing that. So very quickly to explain.
No, we're not seeing that. Sorry.
Yeah, still not.
You're not seeing that? Okay, hold on.
No.
Yes.
Yes, now you will. Hang on. Where's it gone? Here we go. You getting this?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. So what you see in the middle there are two badges, the blue badge on the left, the green badge on the right. The blue badge is a regional badge and the green badge is for a more localized area. And the guild represents blue badge guides as full members and green badge guides via their local associations. We have about 1,000 direct members plus about another 300, 400 green badge guides. And there are about 2,000 members who have badges altogether in the Institute of Tourist Guiding. So compared with figures you were talking about recently of several thousands, there are lots and lots of other guides who are not qualified with badges who we compete with. So we are, if you like, the professional and qualified guides. The Guild is the national organization within the United Kingdom, principally in England. And it's an unregulated market. Anybody can call themselves a guide. For perspective, the population of the United Kingdom is about 60 million, of which London is about 9 million. This will be relevant in a moment when I show you some numbers. So you can look at these at leisure later in the recording, but basically we've been on a golden sequence that goes back, well, 17 or so years. You can see that the official visit figures have gone from 2003, about 25 million, up to 2019, 41 million. So huge increases year on year, boosted in 2012 by the Olympic and Paralympic Games. And 11% of our visitors, inbound visitors, are coming from the United States. So we're very affected by what they do, but also our near neighbors in Germany, France, and the Irish Republic, as well as Spain and Italy and so on. So the EU countries. Notable on that list, China is not sending many visitors yet, nor the Gulf states, but in terms of value, the column on the right-hand side, Chinese visitors and United Arab Emirates visitors are particularly important. So in January, the year was looking like another record-breaking year, a 3% growth in volume and about a 7% increase in the value of inbound tourism. And we had just had at last, in December last year, the re-election of a Conservative government led by Boris Johnson on the theme of Get Brexit Done, and they had a workable majority, so things might have at last been about to move us forward, we thought. The Guild itself held a strategy day, as we do every January. You'll see a picture on the right of the beaming faces of the executive councillors of the Guild meeting at the new Guild office that we moved into last year. And those office facilities were designed to offer educational facilities, to run training courses, and also audio-visual facilities. How prescient was that? Because we were to turn out to need them in this year. We ran a membership survey to understand the skills and profile of our members in greater detail and what benefits they would need. And again, that was to prove to be enormously helpful in planning our responses to the events of the year. So good that we had that information available. Our benevolent fund is a really important thing to mention. We're fortunate that the Blue Badge system has been going for 70 years next year. And in the course of that lifetime has built up really a welfare fund for hardship and distress of guides. As self-employed individuals, we benefit from that, and it's got legacies that have been left by guides who may have passed away and left money, and that is put to welfare use. And again, how fortunate we have been to have that. We were looking to develop a more focused business plan because we don't really have one. And again, that's a work in progress. And we were looking to invest in more regional training courses around, well, England principally, because there's a number of holes in regions where we don't have enough badged guides. We were looking to bring together our annual general meeting of members and our conference activities into one unified event. And again, you'll see how that has changed in the course of the year. And we were looking to hire a business development executive, not primarily to develop more work for members, but to develop the Guild as an organization by connecting us in with government and with other tourism and visitor economy stakeholders, and to develop alternative sources of income so that membership subscriptions were not the sole principal source of revenue for the Guild. And that's still a very important principle to follow. We ran a conference last January that was called Guided to Growth. It was the second time we did it, and it was a business development skills conference for guides. We held it in Oxford overnight. It built on the success of the first time we did this last year, and we opened it up this year to all guides, regardless of the membership organization that they were in. And you could choose from a program of 12 workshops and 7 plenary sessions, plus social events, one-on-ones, local tours, and so on. It was hugely popular. We got 99 paying delegates. The first year we did it, we had over 100 delegates. So, you know, a huge proportion of our membership were interested in developing their self-reliance, and that's really an important principle that we wanted to embed because of the need to develop successful businesses, and even more so these days. And you can see on the top photo a general session and then one of the workshops below, led by working guides, of course. But then how it all changed in March. I mean, I don't need to repeat that a pandemic happened. International travel ended instantly, and the responses around the country were very disjointed between England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, local regions. It was not impressive. It's taken a while to adapt. But there were a number of other important things happening alongside this, which I do think are worth noting. There's a process going on of reevaluation of history, and let's say Black Lives Matter is one of those themes, but there are others I'm going to touch on in a moment. And I think these are important as we emerge in the future. And also, let's not forget this little matter of Brexit, the departure of the United Kingdom from the European Union. We're in the we're in a transitional year at the moment, which will end at the end of next month, and there's still uncertainty about what our future trading arrangements are going to be with the European Union, and that could make a big difference to tourism. So the latest updated figures are showing for the current year a projection of a 74% decline in visitor numbers, 74%. And there is, I put on here, no sign of sector-specific support yet. Well, I can bring you breaking news that as of yesterday afternoon, the government has started to announce its intentions to support the sector. So I'll come on to that later on. So shock horror from March. Our response really, I've summarized here as a number of things beginning with R, because we were all very angry. So we were reacting, first of all. This was really important to recognize immediately that something needed to be done. And we needed to provide leadership within the Guild together with the other guiding organizations in a coordinated way. We needed to realign to the new realities as opposed to stick our heads in the sand. We needed to report to our members what was going on at governmental level, what funding was available, unemployment benefit loads and so on. And this was a rapidly changing situation that was very bewildering for members. We needed to reassure them that there was going to be life after all of this, we hope, and that there was a future. And this was particularly important for people who were financially significantly dependent on the income from guiding or were newly qualified guides who had yet to establish themselves. We wanted to provide some revenue for our members by directly employing them to deliver continuing professional development lectures and training programs, and to find other ways that we could help them to develop alternative revenue streams. And I'll come to that in a moment as well. We also wanted to do a bit of revolting. We were angry, and we wanted government to know that we were angry because a large number of self-employed guides were not covered by the financial arrangements that the government was handing out. And we wanted that voice to be heard on behalf of members who were struggling financially. We wanted to manage the process of retirements because clearly there was going to be a generational change of some guides who would not carry on guiding in the future, so how we transition. And we also needed to look at refocusing the topics that we guided to and where we guided and how we guided, and reimagine a new future for guiding together with other stakeholders in the guiding world, other organizations, and hopefully lead all of that to a successful recovery. So the things that were done very quickly, we created a joint coronavirus task force together with the Institute of Tourist Guiding, and also the Association of Professional Tourist Guides, the regional association in London. And we put out regular updates and bulletins to help hold the hands of our members and explain to them what was happening. Our guild office staff started working from home, and we looked at slashing overhead costs in whatever way we could in order to ensure financial viability. Like many of your organizations, we moved on to an online platform with Zoom, and we bought the top version we could and moved our training courses online and also meetings online. We ran a webinar early on to explain to members what government help for self-employed people was available. And we also set up a program that we called Guides Helping Guides, so that local groupings of guides could physically get together, reach out, support each other, check their welfare, check their health, check that mental health was still there, so that it wasn't just lonely and dangerous, but that we were in small granular groups supporting each other. We lobbied hard through institutions that we were a member of, like the Tourism Alliance, which is the stakeholder group for the visitor economy, and made sure that government, as far as possible, could hear guides at the table where decisions were being made. This has been a big challenge for us in the past and continues to be so. We're Good to Go is that green logo that's on the right. This was a scheme that the national tourist body Visit England developed during the summer to reassure potential travellers that steps were being taken to be COVID friendly and safe, and social distancing and masks and so on. So many guides got accredited under that program and use that in their marketing to help reassure customers.
Please come to your conclusion, Mark.
Yeah, okay. So refocusing, we have been moving much more into lockdown learning online, CPD. We ran 42 lectures online that were very successful, and virtual tours have been the big thing for the year, as many of you have found. We also helped with reducing members' subscriptions. If you go onto our website, you'll find some of the virtual tours, and refocusing on the domestic market, not just the international market. That has led to a total change. I'll skip through these. So some things were business as usual things, but more, and here's the new website, how it looks with foreign languages more prominent and optimized for mobile. And here are some things about the virtual tours that allow us to reach out to people overseas and at home. Now, what's very much not business as usual is this reaction to history and to statues and to aspects of restitution of objects in museums, which is going to be an enduring feature to look at, and I think might be a topic for this organization to discuss further in the future, as well as themes of over-tourism. Even in a situation of no tourism, we need to be aware that a right balance is needed. And new technologies for guiding at a distance, you know, apps on your phone and that kind of thing. And deserted streets, but relaying of roads have taken away coach parking bays and will change the nature of tourism in the future as well. So planning for the future in this unknown land, not only post-Brexit, but will there, you know, if a vaccine comes in, that will transform everything. And Project Guide England is really a very important initiative to talk about, that is looking to restructure the organizations of guiding within England so that we have a more unified voice and a more effective projection and marketing to our customers and our stakeholders. So I've put some useful links in here as well, which I hope you will follow, to give you a bit more information than I've been able to talk about here. This kind of transformation toolkit might be useful. So thank you. Good luck as you go into recovery as well next year. And I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have when we get to the panel session in a moment. But I hope that's squeezed everything into a more can-do spirit, a sense of ambition, a sense of optimism, and some spirit of coordination amongst us all around the world, so that we can believe in a bright growth, financial secure future ahead for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. We are good to go. I'm sorry that we actually have the limitation of time. Let's invite the next presenter from Isfahan Tourist Guide Association, Iran. Maryam. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, dear Banafsheh. Do you have my voice and my picture?
We have your voice and we have your presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm very glad to be in this excellent meeting and this informative and interesting meeting. It is very great for us. Many thanks to WFTGA, especially to Alushca, who supported us very much. My name is Maryam Hodaeian. I'm the president of Isfahan Tourist Guide Association. I'm going to explain about where Isfahan is located in the country of Iran and a brief information about it. Then I'm going to introduce you about our association and its great works that we did previous years and remember those happy days. Then I will talk about what happened to us this year, 2020, and what we did until now. And finally, I mention about our current projects, what we are doing right now. As you see in the map of Iran, where Iran is located in Asia, and Iran has about 1,600,000 square kilometers with a population of 83 million people. It is a very high potential country with that attracts many tourists from around the world. It has many historical monuments where they were inscribed as UNESCO World Heritage with lots of, we can say that it is a land of architecture, land of art with unique and fantastic landscape, nature, food, poets, and also hospitable people. You can read the comments and stories that all the tourists, when they travel to Iran and they wrote about it, you can learn about these in Google and from the other who were in this beautiful land. About Isfahan, where you see in the map, it is almost located in the center of the country. And I can tell you that it is among those two first and very famous important cities that when a tourist travels to Iran, must see this beautiful city. It is also very important city because of the tourism industry, and also it has lots of stories to tell you based on, again, culture, architecture, land of handicrafts, nice local people, food, culture, and a variety of things that attracts the people from around the world with different interests. About our association, I want to tell you, please. This Isfahan Association, Tourist Guide Association, is the first and the oldest association in Iran. And a couple of days ago, in 21st of November, it was its 20th birthday. And right now it has about 200 members. We did many great works for the province and for the city. And I want to mention you just some of those, and not all. And I want to tell you that tourist guides in this city, they did a lot for their province. The next one, we can say that some of great things we did. One of them was the 9th Iranian tourist guides gatherings in 2016 that we invited 600 tourist guides from around the country without any support from anywhere, and we were alone, but we did it very well just because we were together and we follow tourist guides goal. So we had several purposes to have these gatherings in Isfahan at that time. Two purposes. The first one and the main purpose was that the next year of that year, I mean, in 2017, it was Convention 2017 belonged to WFTGA, that Iran was the host. And for the city of Isfahan, our association was host too. So in 2016, we started to plan and to have lots of classes in that gatherings. And we had many visits, walking tours, and we prepared ourselves to get ready what to do for Convention 2017. And the picture you see, excuse me, the previous one, in the picture you see, I love Isfahan. You see these I in Isfahan, these are the guests who sat on the floor and they made this beautiful image for us as a gift. And it was a famous and historic or beautiful square in the world. The next one, then in 2017, it was the time for Convention 2017 that our association also was the host for 1 year. Isfahani tourist guides also, they did their best in order to be a good host for the guests from around the world. So what we did, it was that we did many advertisements, we prepared ourselves, we for example, in the picture you see some cyclings that they did some tours in order to promote this convention, and many other things that we did in Isfahan. The next, and we can say that with these gatherings that they were national and international, for the other time our sound was heard to the province, to the state, to the government, to the country, and so on. Just without, we say in these cases, with empty hands, we did everything ourselves. These are also another pictures from Convention 2017. And on the left side are our guests, some of them that came to the yard, and we had very great time with them, and we are proud of these things. Then we can say that another thing that they were positive.
Could you focus on 2020, please? Our time is actually coming to an end.
Present the next slide, please. It was our classes. One of the things that we do regularly every year is the classes. Average 50 to 70 classes per year we had. For example, in theory classes, practical ones, or also we had lots of visits, for example, from historical places, factories, companies, and handicrafts, many other things with very professional instructors. But unfortunately, this year, we stopped all these things because of this disease happened to us. On the right side, you see this picture. On the top and the bottom, the previous one, everybody wore mask, and it was the last such meeting we had together when we heard about COVID-19. Very immediately, we had a class in a big garden. It was a private garden, and we invited tourist guides to come there and to learn about what's this disease, what's this sick, what's it like, what's our and what they should do it. Then we did the rest of the classes online. You see two pictures we have. In order to be a tourist guide, it is a long process. It's not easy to be a tourist guide with a very valuable certificate. But unfortunately, at the same time, we have some people, they work like a tourist guide, but they do not have any license, they do not have any permission from travel agencies, and it was a very bad things for the tourist guides, and most of the tourist guides were unemployed, and because we had many other tours that they were occurred without licensed tourist guides and also the permission of travel agencies. So we asked the related organizations, we asked the previous slide, it is still we asked our organization, the related ones, several of them. We had face-to-face meetings with each of them. Then we convinced them to accept what we say, what we need, and what is our request. They accepted that and they cooperated with us very well. And we started to follow, to avoid and control the illegal tourists, that it was awful. Still we have problem, but the problem is much less than before. So somehow we can say that this project was also almost successful. The next positive thing we did, it was the book, the special book, and it is the only book about Esfahan that it was written in 7 languages by our tourist guides in the city of Esfahan and by these dear colleagues in the with the different languages. And the next one, please. The next one is about membership card. What we did, we prepared a membership card for our members, with like an identity card that their name, the number of their tour guides number, and the rest are written on it. Then we started to come to a conclusion with some other places, for example, restaurants, accommodations, and we signed contract with them, and we wrote that they receive a good discount for themselves, for their family. And at the same time, we introduced those places to the tourist guides. It was a very positive chances, positive cooperation for both sides that we did by this.
Please, I'm afraid.
That we started recently about website. Still, it is in Persian language, but in near future, we will do it in English. And this website is about the previous one. The website is about, we do everything online. It was one of the positive things that it helped us these days too. We registered classes online, we inform everybody through online, and many of the efforts we have for the association, we do through online. So we will have the English one in near future. The next one is about protocols. Health protocols we have is when we, in these days, it's 2 slides, the previous slides,
Maryam,
please,
we've
about
run out
health
of
protocols.
Maryam, we've run out of time. Your 12 minutes is up, and we do have
do you
one
hear
more
me?
presenter. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? We have one more presenter.
Do you hear me? Excuse me.
Time.
Can you put a
Maryam?
Maryam, we have run out of time. We need to end your presentation, unfortunately, and move on to our last presenter. We will share your presentation with the rest, and there will be another opportunity to present.
Okay, I think we don't have her. She just left. Okay. I should say thank Maryam. So the last but not the least, actually presenter is Alejandra from Tourist Guide Association from France. Welcome, Alejandra.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Paris, France. I'm trying to get this on. And I am filling in for Helga. You probably know her. She had some connection problems. So she asked me to fill in, and of course, it's a great pleasure to be sharing with you some of the news about our federation. We call it federation because we have associations that are part of our group. So my name is Alejandra, of course, you know it already. And 2020 started with international tourists, the guide days, and wonderful, and everything was positive and looking forward to a great year, like all of you, of course. But back to who we are, we have 180 members in our federation. It is nationwide, so we do have regional associations that are part of our group. And what we try to do is support, of course, all the tourist guides in every way we can with trainings, information. And this year has proved a very special challenge for all of us, because we're the official contact with the government. So that meant lots of work, lots of meeting, around 20 meets with top level government officials, because everyone in the government, hopefully for us, wanted to understand the situation of tourist guides. So the outcome is to have a special work force that has been named in order to really understand and to try to figure out a way of standardizing our status, things that got complicated, into helping us financially. Of course, we've all been through and we know that. Anyway, let's go back to the beginning of the year. Like I mentioned, Tourist Guide Day, and this is our picture of our colleagues from Alsace, from Strasbourg, and they came up with a very fun idea. They proposed speed tours. That means they were out on the streets close to this wonderful Cathedral of Strasbourg, and anyone passing by, they would propose a 10 minutes for free, of course, and presented themselves and explained a little bit about what it is like to be a tour guide and to take a tour tour's guide, right? So it was very successful. We in Paris had free visits too, and we did 200 visits. We had several times a day, and even at that time we had tourists, so tourists would sign up for these visits, and we had very good reviews. People happy to understand, to learn, and to meet tourist guides that normally they just, you know, see you passing by with a group or on a coach, and they don't really understand what we are doing, right? Now, then later in the year, in the middle of this pandemic, we had been approached by the Paris Tourism Office that had a budget, a very important budget of 100,000 euros in order to propose
Alejandra?
free tours. Yes,
Alejandra, apologies. Is there any way you can minimize your presentation slightly, because all the words are cutting off the screen, so we're not seeing the whole presentation. It's almost too big for the screen. If not, it's fine. We will share the presentations after. It just seems too big for the screen.
I don't know. Right. I don't
Okay,
know how to do that, Sebastian.
That's
Help.
fine.
Help. I really don't. I'm not so sorry, but
that's fine. You just carry on, and we'll share. And you are verbally putting across the point, so that's fine.
It's basically photos, so don't.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know, Alushca. Anyway, as I was saying, for us it was very important to have this opportunity to go to work, to get some kind of activity, and it was a big success because 750 tours took place, with more than 11,000 participants, because of course there were groups, 20 to 25 persons maximum. There were walking tours that were out on the streets with all sanitary measures, of course. But what was very nice for us is to hear what people were saying. And they were always happy to have this tourist guide interaction, and also to see their own towns, to see the neighborhoods. Sometimes they would probably pass by a building and not even know what it is. So, you know, through these tours, we make them acknowledge what was around them. So it was educational, of course, very important to see that we were taken care of, you know, if we can say like that. In some offices, they were copying this idea, so it was a good example, if we can call it like that. And we're happy to have had some kind of impact into other parts of France. Now, in the next image, just to show you a little bit of what was happening in our homes, we were all, doing lots of virtual tours, lots of learning experiences, conferences. We were traveling through all the museums, but all, of course, online. And we organized 3 different courses for the members of FNGC. These courses were to enable them to do virtual tours or something that's very important, conferences. And nowadays we see that lots of our tour guides have become turned to this activity to give conferences. Actually, our title is Guide Conférencier. For those of you that speak French, you know already that we have a double title. So we are guides, tourist guides, but we are also enabled officially to give a conference. They acknowledge our preparation to give a conference. So that was a very good surprise and some kind of exit for lots of people, some activity that probably was unthought of before. They are giving conferences, and besides the virtual tours, it has become a small income because unfortunately it doesn't pay much, but still an activity that lots of our guides are going to. Then the subject that, of course, nobody wants to think about or remember is how some of our guides have been abandoned by the financial aid programs. It is due to the fact that we have several status. Some of our guides are in the self-employed. Some of our guides have contracts, and some of them have a mix of the two status, so that gets very complicated. As I mentioned briefly when I was referring to the government, they don't know how to officially help these different status. So, for example, self-employed guides, we have, because I am employed guide, we have a financial aid of up to 1,500 euros a month. It started in March and it will go all the way through December. We don't know about 2021 yet. Then other guys that have a contract were able to get unemployment. And then of course the mixed category are the ones that are sort of like in the air. But we do have a problem of many guys not receiving any financial aid, and that meant that guides participated in demonstrations. There's a small picture of us work hearing and letting ourselves heard. We've had media coverage on TV. That's also lots of work for the Federation, because of course we had interviews and newspaper articles. It's fantastic. We had a good month of the media, and like I mentioned too, we have this government group that's going to work and help tourist guide for the future and forever. That's what we hope. Anyway, we're worried about people abandoning the profession. We know there's lots of people that are going to retire. That's normal. They're just speeding up the process, and we know that the young generation, all the new tour guides is really unfair for them because they have no practice. So we're trying to help them. We're still trying to motivate them and do as much as we can to be with them, because of course the future for our profession. And last, I have a small image of me, of course, with a mask next to the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower is closed. All the museums are closed. We had yesterday, our president said that they might open in January. It's still, Yes, I'm finishing. It is, in the air, and we don't have a set date. So we're just looking forward to, back to normality, like everyone else, and definitely looking forward to meeting you in person. So till then, au revoir. Merci.
Thank you very much, Alejandra.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good timing. Okay, I think we are done with all the presentation. Alushca, can we have Q&A or we don't have time?
Unfortunately, Banafsheh, we are well over our time. So I think a quick one sentence goodbye from you, closure from me, and then we have to say farewell to everybody until next time.
Okay. Thank you very much, all the presenter, all the viewers. Thank you, WFTGA, and all who helped that this happened. We learned so many things. And since we don't have time, I just want to say bye-bye. See you in another time.
Thank you, Banafsheh. Yeah, we've run over our time. The tourist guides love to talk, and I know everyone has such important information to share. So we will do a part 3 to our journeys. And so just watch your communications and we'll give everyone another opportunity. So thank you to all attending, to the participating associations, presenters, Banafsheh, Sebastian, Viola, the operations team. To everyone, stay safe and stay strong. Thank you.
Goodbye.